Okay, so these are within that little, is your coverage better? Now 2 offshoots of that. Number 1, 2 things to watch when it comes to pass coverage. Can West Virginia get pressure on Eli Holstein, quarterback for Pitt? He was a really highly touted prospect coming out of high school, top 10 when he chose to go to Alabama. He's making only his 3rd start here. He really struggled first half against Cincinnati. Really struggled for 3 quarters, quite frankly, against Cincinnati, and then absolutely went bonkers in the 4th. Why are you laughing?
That just become part of the fabric.
Cincinnati. So here's what you watch on the Pitt offensive line. They have a right tackle that's 23rd nationally in most pressures allowed. He had a pass grade in true pass sets so far that is 19.5 as a grade on a scale of 0 to 100. Last year against Cincinnati, a 5.7 grade in true pass sets, a 5. So can you get some pressure on the right side with them? They have another tackle that's 45th nationally in pressures allowed. Both played against West Virginia last year. They have a 3rd offensive lineman that's 94th in pressures allowed. So teams have been able to get some pressure on Pitt's offensive line here. Can you do that again? Can you get there? Sean Martin had 4 last year against Pitt. Lathan had 2. Tyron Bradley had a sack last year, 1 of 2 against Pitt. So that was a group, if you remember last year's game, that Pitt offense really, really struggled against West Virginia's defense. It just couldn't do a thing. West Virginia was heating Jerkovic up all night. This is a totally different offense than what you saw in here last year. Can you get to Holstein? If you can get some pressure, that helps the back end, as we know. Make him uncomfortable. Here's the other area to watch if you get some pressure on him. Holstein leads the country in turnover-worthy plays.
Excuse me?
Turnover-worthy plays. Another Pro Football Focus stat, and it's defined as this: a pass that has a high percentage chance to be intercepted or a poor job of taking care of the ball and fumbling. He has 7 of those through 2 games, but only has 2 interceptions in that time.
So he's been running through the raindrops.
He's due.
Yeah.
He's due there for some picks. Can you get those Saturday? And so I think that's an important key to watch for somebody that has been flirting with danger and a West Virginia team that is not creating turnovers.
You calling for a 3-pick day?
I don't know. Three's a lot.
2.5?
It'd be nice if you could get 2.
You're going to be in Pittsburgh. Is Beanie available?
Yeah, really. Be nice if you could find a couple of these.
Yeah.
So if he keeps putting those passes in positions to pick them off, West Virginia must take advantage of that and catch the football and get a couple of turnovers and flip that around. So maybe, you know how we like to talk regression, positive and negative regression? Maybe West Virginia is due to win a turnover battle because so far that has not been good. And maybe Holstein is due to give up a couple more of those passes that maybe should have been turnovers that weren't. Maybe that's due to turn into some turnovers. So that's another one of those matchups to watch. If he turns it over a couple times, you feel great. If he's able to sit back there and find guys in his own defense and West Virginia can't get its coverage right and
Shame
it can't
on
get
you.
home, then he's just going to sit there and he can pick you apart. He has the ability to do that, as he did to Cincinnati in the 4th quarter when he was 10 of 11. So, talented kid, he's just inexperienced. Can you make the inexperience work against him rather than have the talent show forth and give you a real problem?
Brad, of your keys, I think the biggest key goes back to those defensive backs. Because even if Pitt brings pressure, you still have some confidence in an offense. The offensive line is running backs and Garrett Green. So I think you have confidence there. You do not have confidence right now in those defensive backs based on that statistic that you just gave. And they're going to throw it around. So, and the coaches, as you said, says this is correctable. But if it isn't corrected,
you're going to have to win 50-48 if it's not corrected. Plain and simple.
Yeah, remember, though, I know the defensive backs are catching a lot of heat right now, and Neil and Jordan have both talked about that area's got to be better. But you mentioned linebackers have to cover, too. This is a team coverage grade here. This is all the guys have to be involved in coverage. And again, it goes back to pressure a little bit. If Sean Martin's a dude and an NFL guy and can abuse one of their guys up front and now they have to adjust, or TJ Jackson, who's been very good with his pressures.
Going to start this week.
If those two guys are problems up front, now you can drop some more in coverage. You don't have to blitz. You don't have to bring extra rushers. Now you've got some help in the coverage game. So I think I get what you're saying, and the defensive backs are super important, but I think the pressure can play a huge role in this. If we come in here Sunday and there's not a lot of pressures and that defensive line didn't get home with just those 3 or 4 guys rushing, I think we're going to say that was one of the issues. I think it's clear that's got to be a part of this game plan that comes through. And some of that's, I shouldn't say game plan, That's guys that have to just say, I'm beating you. Sean Martin, you're an NFL guy. Go beat the guy across from you. TJ Jackson, keep doing what you're doing. And we saw Martin do that last week. I know he's better than the guys that he's playing against from Albany. He's going now against Pitt. Go get him. Go at him.
This is not calculus level analytics like you provide, but quite simply, if you want to go down to a base level of this, Garrett Green has to outplay Eli Holstein, i.e., Garrett is seasoned, Garrett is experienced. Garrett's been in big games. Eli Holstein has not. This is going to be his third career start. And while he is talented, right, he also is very young. Now, he's going to be a really good player for him. Like, I watched that game, I watched the tape several times. He is elusive for his size. He's not going to run around you and by you like Garrett does, but he's got some great athleticism. Just his hip movement gets away from guys, able to wiggle away from guys. So if you're going to get a kill shot on him, and that's in quotation marks, you have better get your job done because he's thick and you got to bring him to the ground. And Cincinnati had no success in crunching him and getting him down to the turf. But that's really what this game comes down to.
But they had success early bothering him.
Yes, they did.
Like you can see what happens when you bother him.
Well, it was their three high safeties, right? There was the three high safeties that were playing. It confused him. They went back. They watched the tape. They got the Surface Pros there. They're looking at it and say, okay, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. And he got a heck of a lot better as the game went on. There's no question about that. But my point is this. Garrett has to outplay him. When we're walking out of the stadium on Saturday evening, chances are that when you look at the numbers, they're going to say, which team won? Okay, which quarter? Let me see the numbers. Yeah, that's why they won. You got to play.
Well, I put that key for the next 6 games and probably for the rest of the season. Garrett Green's your most dynamic offensive player, and he's got the ball in his hands the whole time. Mm-hmm. He's the usage rate guy that is through the roof, running and passing. He's got to be electric and very good. And we'll say that every week. If you're going to go on the back of your quarterback in this league, and that's especially true of 6. Now, you need White to hit some plays. You need Donaldson to hit some plays. That defense has to get better. But Garrett Green has to be a problem. He has to cause a lot of issues for that defense, both with his arm and with his legs.
Correct. Yeah. You got anything else?
That's it.
That was really good.
That was very good.
Really nice.
Excellent.
There's a lot of stuff in this one.
Oh, yeah, it was thick. Building up as time goes on. Spreads on Stats brought to us by Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. Got some pretty wild textual healings coming up just a bit. But a reminder here first, if you're driving from West Virginia to the Berg for the game on Saturday, chances are you'll pass by, if you're in West Virginia, Tudor's Biscuit World. Did you know that Tudor's Biscuit World is expanding, getting bigger?
Heard that.
Searching for passionate entrepreneurs here in our state. Over 40 years of success, 74 locations, fast, casual chain, specializes in made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuits and homemade breakfast items. Adored by thousands of daily customers across 4 states. If you're interested, contact Tudor's Biscuit World. You could have one of those bad boys if you're watching. Is that just classic right there? That is just a Tudor's Biscuit World location. So check it out, Tudor's Biscuit World. There have been various challenges. Your microphone.
Those chicken wraps were good too. I'd have
Yes,
one
they
of
were.
those.
Yeah.
A couple people. I asked the young lady that was here from Tudor's last week about eating 2 of those Mountaineers.
Yeah.
Could we be able to do it?
Yeah.
She gave me a really professional answer. She said it would yes and no. What do you mean? It would be determined by biscuit thickness.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
She said, now, you go like with a super duper thick biscuit, you might have an issue. She said, more of a genteel width on that biscuit. Well, there it is. I mean, right there. That's the one that won, beat every biscuit in the world in that competition, and was named the South's best biscuit by that magazine chain.
Lined up, beat them. Thank you for baking. Why don't you just have
that
one?
That was Garden and Gun magazine.
And enjoy it. Why don't you just have one and enjoy it? What's this whole 2 thing? I know you guys are big eaters, especially you, Tony. Just have one and enjoy it.
Well, Brad's the one that brought up that I could eat 2. I didn't start it. He started it.
Well, it's not a competition. Just enjoy the biscuit. Lord.
Might enjoy it with 2. Don't tell me how I'd enjoy my biscuit. What if I want 2?
Do you want 2?
Well, I might.
That guy wants two. Let the guy eat,
two
man.
right now.
You would be me. Okay, I tell you what. You're going to eat two because of your poor food management, and you're going to go, oh my gosh.
I realize they're big. I get it.
Time for Textual Healing, brought to us
He's
by...
never been with us at Carmine's in New York City.
Brought to us by episode800.com. Yes, it is a road game, but I've got information to share for y'all.
Okay.
If you go to our site, obviously you can get everything that we our merch. You can get it all there. But here, the unbelievable success with the first week of the beer, Connection 304 from Parkersburg Brewing, it exploded, and the next round, so to speak, is out.
Oh, it is?
Yes, Connection 304 will be available this weekend at various locations, including the Varsity Club here in Morgantown, the Parkersburg Tap Room. And over the next 48 hours, we invite you to just stay with us on social media. We'll let you know what's going on. Second production hits Morgantown Friday morning. Great distributor, Joe's Globe.
Mm-hmm.
Distributing it here, in this area, North Central. And
be at the Kroger?
well, not yet. We strive to make, here's the note from Homeless Dave.
Okay.
We are striving to make it available in all 55 counties. And we ask you, our listeners, to send us recommendations on restaurants or pubs in our state. You can text us or you can send an email to info@episode800.com. Info@episode800.com. We want this beer.
So if you want to get the beer,
we want the beer to be for everyone in our state.
So if you want the beer in your neighborhood or
Yes.
your area, what is it again? Where do you email to Homeless Dave? I mean, it's not his home. Because
info@episode800.com.
Okay.
Homeless Dave was in L.A. this week. Almost went to the Mountaineers soccer game. He was in L.A. They were playing in L.A. against Loyola Marymount, but he sent me a picture from his hotel. There's a fire.
Excuse me?
They had
Not a.
Yeah, there was brush fires all
Oh,
over.
multiple.
He could see it all around his hotel.
Yeah.
So it was hot there, and it certainly didn't help as far as the air quality goes.
Hey, don't forget the update there that was sent.
Varsity Club.
Thank you.
This week. Varsity Club, Flower and Feed here this week, and also Mountain State by the waterfront. By the waterfront. Mountain State by the waterfront. It'll be on tap at tomorrow evening for the weekend and for the Pitt game as well. So at Varsity Club, Flower and Feed, and Mountain State near the waterfront.
That's good because I'm running low. I have one can left.
Restocking.
Time now for
and will be plenty available for the Kansas game.
Vats of it. Texter. This is pretty, as I said, we got good text today.
Mm-hmm.
James Earl Jones is the most famous person I've ever met. This is my story. In 1985, the movie Matewan was filmed in southern West Virginia. I submitted a photo and a letter to the casting company and was chosen as an extra. I spent one day on the set while filming at Grandview State Park. James Earl Jones was on the set that day and spent most of his time in a tent. Now, 8-year-old me, almost 9, was a huge Star Wars fan, and I knew who was the voice of Darth Vader. I wanted to meet Mr. Jones so bad, but I was too scared and timid to approach. I missed an opportunity. Now, fast forward to the fall of 1998, 13 years later. I'm in my first year as the WVU Mountaineer mascot. At the time, Mr. Jones was the spokesperson for Bell Atlantic. The athletic department arranged for Mr. Jones to MC a halftime event at the football game.
Thanks to John Golden.
Sure. As you could imagine, this was a big production. I mean, it was James Earl Jones, the voice of Darth Vader, among other great roles.
Luke, I'm your father.
Sure. The WVU band, cheerleaders, and I had to participate in a rehearsal at the stadium early on the morning of the game. We were all excited. This was right before the prequel trilogy came out. So the hype for Star Wars was growing. In addition, all of us were in Generation X that grew up with Star Wars. A lot of people brought memorabilia in hopes that Mr. Jones would sign it. Unfortunately, we were quickly advised he would not sign anything. Since I was the Mountaineer mascot, I got to share the stage with him. During rehearsal, I had a few minutes to chat. I told him I was in a movie with him when I was 8. He said, "Oh, yeah."